Well, thanks again for joining me for another video where I really hope that by sharing a main point and a question to ponder and a baby step to take, that it helps you to lead a more generous life, or as Paul writes, to excel in the grace of giving. So today's main point is simply this: giving does require sacrifice. And so I'm going to go back to the Old Testament today into King David. And King David did a very foolish thing. He decided he wanted to count all of the fighting men in his nation, against the advice of his advisors, and more importantly, against what God had told him to do, because David wasn't dependent on how many soldiers he had to fight. He was dependent on God, who would protect him and bless him. And so he does the foolish thing and he counts. And because he does, God says, I'm going to punish the nation because of your disobedience. And so the Bible records over 70,000 people lost their life. God sent an angel of death and decimated 70,000 lives and families. And finally, David's cut to the heart and he cries out to God. He says, please stop this. I'm the shepherd. I should be held responsible, not these people. And so the angel of death stops and God tells David, I want you to build an altar here and sacrifice for me here. And so the place that he stopped is Araunah's spot, and this is his place. And so we're going to pick it up at the very end of 2 Samuel chapter 24. Araunah said to David, let my lord the king take whatever he wishes and offer it up. Here's oxen for the burnt offering, and here's the threshing sledges and the ox yoken for the wood. Your majesty, Araunah, gives all this to the king. Araunah said to him, may the Lord your God accept you. And so here David shows up, and what's this man to do but to say, you're the king. You can take whatever you want. Here, I'm going to give you everything you need to sacrifice. But I love what David's response is. But the king replied to Araunah, no, I insist on paying you for it. I will not sacrifice to the Lord my God burnt offerings that cost me nothing. I love that heart of David, and that verse is just stuck into my heart and into my brain. I'm not going to give God that which cost me nothing. Giving does require sacrifice, and I am not going to give to God that which cost me nothing. And so here's a question I want you to think about and ponder today. How do I want my giving to look 10 years from now? What kind of legacy do I want to leave for people? How do I want people to remember me? And how do I want my generosity to be impacting the world around me? I know I really want to be a much more generous person than I am today, 10 years from now. And I hope that's the case. I hope I'm getting closer to that place where I am reverse tithing, living off less and giving away more. That's what I want to do. And so my baby step for you today simply is this: to develop a long-term giving goal and then map out those little baby steps along the way for you to get there. And maybe a big long-term goal is, boy, I want to tithe. I want to do what God had set up from the very beginning, and even Jesus talked about as well, giving. I want to get to that 10% of giving my first 10% away. Well, that's a hard place to just jump to. But boy, if you want to make that a 10-year goal, maybe you start at 1% and just add a percent every year. And 10 years from now, wow, you're at 10% giving that away, where that seems an impossibility today can become possible tomorrow, because this is what you've chosen to do. I'm not going to give that which costs me nothing. God, I'm going to give you, and I'm going to sacrifice for you because of the incredible sacrifice you've made for me. So thanks for watching, and I'll look forward to sharing with you another lesson next week.